was to tell you that a viral infection could wipe out your entire tank and you wouldn't even know how to treat it. Today we're going to talk about something that every aquarist needs to know: viruses in fish. In our last video, we saved our systems from bacterial infections. Today we're going to take on the viral threat. It's something you cannot ignore. Bacterial and fungal infections are treatable. Viruses are not. So how do we fight a virus then? Basically, we have to make the fish's immunity strong. Just like us, we need a strong immune system. And the problem with a lot of the foods and products out now is they're not catering to immunity. They are catering to profits. And they are just solid fillers most of the time, if not a lot of fillers. This is a problem in our hobby because if a virus comes and our fish are not strong, they will pay the ultimate price. Now I want to talk about a virus that happened about 30 years ago. It was called the Discus plague. It was nasty, nasty, nasty. And I would say about 70% of my fish that got this virus died. There was nothing we could do. Obviously, we didn't have the knowledge we have now to treat, but with a virus, there's not much you can treat with. You have to get in front of viruses. You cannot play catch up with a virus, okay? So we need to make sure that we are feeding top quality foods. Folic acid in the water. I cannot stress enough, 2 years of that, and my fish, I basically have banished diseases from my fish room. Now I do get bacterial problems and I do get fungal problems, and most of the fungals are secondary from the bacteria. So not as much fungal because I can get on these bacteria issues right away. So there's no way to treat a virus. We basically have to build immunity tanks. We have to build tanks that are strong and healthy. You know, this tank right here, these are all future breeders. The last thing I need right now is a disease running through this tank and then slowly killing off these fish. Now, the Discus plague, it was brutal, and like I said, usually 7 out of 10 fish that got it, they died. But here's the thing, the 3 that made it, their immunity system got strong against this virus. So even though we lost a lot of fish to the plague, and that's what they called it, the Discus plague, and it was basically the fish would just turn solid black and you would watch them rot right in front of you. It was brutal to watch. I don't think it's common these days, but with the massive inbreeding going on, I think it could be a problem in the future. So that's why we need diversity in our breeding programs. It's because we want to build strong fish. Diverse genetics basically helps fight these viruses. So I designed all my foods and products with this in mind. Anytime I put something together as far as a food or a product, that was my main goal in my head, was to fight viruses. Like I said, there's no way to treat it. You can throw as much as you want at it, and sometimes that happens, and then people will call me and say, you know, what do I do? And I have to let them know that sometimes viruses just kill fish. It's just like it kills humans. You guys know we went through this issue just recently, you know, in 2020. And personally, the best thing you can do for a virus is get that virus and then build an immunity to it. But if you're overweight or not healthy, that virus could take its toll on you. Age also. Well, elderly tend to be hit by viruses and not do well. Really, the thing with humans is lots of vitamin C, a lot of rest, and just let your body do its thing to control these viruses. So I made this video because I get a lot of people talking to me about their fish has a disease, what is it? I have no idea. I could never, by pictures and videos, there's no way I can tell you what a disease is. It's just impossible. Now some are more noticeable than others as far as we can kind of go in a certain direction. But like I said, if it's a viral, there's not much we can do except for just let it work itself out. So basically what I try to do is I build immunity tanks. I build tanks with strong fish. If I see a fish in there that's not doing well, I usually pull that fish and put it in its own tank. This is why we need multiple tanks in our house or room. Even a main tank and an extra tank. I always recommend that, but also if you're bringing in new fish, to put that fish in quarantine for 30 days and watch it. Here's the thing with medications. We are treating diseases. We are not treating fish. Fish have diseases, and that's why we treat them. Do not pre-treat or treat proactively. Do not treat if you do not see a disease. So by pre-treating the fish, basically what you've done is you've made that medication less effective because it's there to treat a disease. It's not there to just treat a fish. So I can't stress that enough. Do not just treat fish because you think they should be treated before they go in your main tank. They should be observed and then treated if there's an issue. So what's another way to build an immunity tank? It is basically the basics. Clean water, huge with Discus. Discus need clean water, whether it's water changed or if it's good filtration or UV sterilizer. Any of those are going to be a positive for a Discus. We cannot put Discus in swamp tanks. They will not do well. Trust me. Now, you get a virus. What can you do at this point? Well, I can't stress enough that you need to feed quality foods, right? This is the Daily Delight and the Chlorella Green. This stuff is chock full of vitamins. This helps their immune system. I believe this is why the bacterial infection cleared up so quick, is because of their immune systems. Now, we did lose 6 of those fish, but in the old days, we'd lose the whole tank. So that bacterial issue was solved with the new product. Right now I'm feeding Daily Delight and Chlorella Green, both freeze-dried. I feed it together. I like it because the Chlorella Green is just basically vitamins. It's not real high protein, but it's everything that they need as far as a vitamin pack. But yes, you can get my vitamin with the blackworms, you can get that. But if you feed the Chlorella Green, they're going to get all the vitamins they need. So these guys eat they're eating about 4 to 5 times a day right now. They were doing about 6 to 7 before they got to this size. So what is the treatment for viral infections? Have you ever heard someone say raise the temperature in your tank to 90 to 92 degrees? That's usually because it's a viral infection. We want to get them up to that fever pitch. Now, whenever you raise your water temperature that high, I cannot stress enough to have tons of oxygen. These guys are about 88 degrees, and the reason why, and they'll be dropping down in a couple weeks down to 86, and the reason why we keep the young Discus at that temperature is so their metabolism stays up and they're constantly eating, because we need that growth. It's like any other fish trying to grow out any other fish. You can get away with angelfish and not do what you have to do for Discus. Most fish you can just feed normal as fry and they will grow correctly. Discus are different. We need to grow these guys a special way, and it's a lot of food and a lot of water changes. Basically, there's no secret, so we just need to stay on top of them. These guys have been growing on all my foods. I like the Daily Delight and the Chlorella Green because it's easy to feed. I can feed it quick. If I have to get out the door real quick, I can just grab this tub, feed these guys, and be on my way. Now, one thing with this food is it's very, very high quality food, and it's real food. So when I'm feeding this amount of food to these fish, the water is going to get a little cloudy. I would not recommend feeding like this to adult fish. That's not what we're trying to do. This is very special to grow these guys out. They need lots of warm water, clean water, lots of air, heat, food. That's the secret to growing Discus correctly. So there's no treatment for viruses. We have to really stay on top of the fish, keep the water clean. Now these guys haven't had a water change today. They will get one tonight. It's been a busy day. And everyone in here looks really good. They're all growing well. Just so you understand, there's 3 different generations of the top fish in here. They are about 30 to 45 days apart, the 3 generations. So that's why you see varying sizes. You'll see a bigger, medium, and then you'll see some smalls. And that's why. The key to growing Discus correctly, they have to be in big groups. They tend to do better in big groups as young fish, but even big fish, they tend to do better in big groups. And this is the secret to growing Discus. Now, that means we have to stay on top of these tanks. You know, we can't let these tanks go a couple days. They need to be attended to every single day. So I know when I'm feeding the Daily Delight and the Chlorella Green, they're getting everything they need as far as a protein level and all their vitamins to keep that immunity strong. I don't see many viruses like I used to. We want to really stay on top of their immunity, and that's basically the secret. I don't know what else to say about viruses. Now here's the problem with raising temperature that high for viruses. If it's a bacterial infection, that might not be the best thing. If you treat for something and it's not working and you're not seeing results, then it might be a good idea to do a big water change and get that temperature up. But like I said, if you're going to raise the temperature, high aeration. We need lots of oxygen because basically as that heat rises, oxygen depletes. So we have to really put a lot of oxygen on these tanks. Not much more to say about viruses. Like I said, it's kind of out of our hands. We just have to be very proactive in keeping our fish super healthy, feeding amazing foods, treating our water, keeping them at the right temperature, right pH. Now, when I say right pH, I mean a constant pH. I'm not saying it needs to be a 6.6 or a 7.6. These guys are an 8.2 pH. So as long as it's consistent, that's what we're after, is a consistency on the pH. Don't chase it. Nice warm temperatures, and then as they grow, some of my wilds I keep at 80 degrees, but most domestics I want to keep about 84. 84 to 86 in that range is pretty good for the domestic strains, but the wild strains tend to do a little better at cooler temperatures. And all those things contribute, right? Because we want to keep the overall health of the fish always at an optimal level, and that's basically how we fight a virus, is by being healthy, being strong, eating good foods, getting plenty of rest. This is a terrible video. I'm really doing terrible. I can't pull my head out of my head. But so really always be thinking ahead as far as viruses. What can I do today to make this tank healthy? What can I do tomorrow to get this tank healthy? I slipped up. I didn't do something. I need to get on that right away, because when the virus comes, it's an uphill battle. And it's kind of out of our hands at that point. We can do small things. We can kind of make sure that things are looking good and we're keeping up on water quality. It has to be done beforehand. We cannot wait and then hopefully treat a virus. Okay, so this is for my supporters now, since there's only about 30% of you left. If you're watching this far, then you're one of the people that actually are helping my channel grow and supporting, our cause here. I have to be very honest, that video was hard to make. It's nothing exciting about viruses, and I just noticed that no one really ever talked about it. I could have probably done that video in about 2 minutes and got everything in, so it wasn't my best video, but I believe the information's important, and I needed a video like this. So when I'm trying to explain to somebody why their fish isn't getting better, this is a potential reason. Now it's hard to convey that over a phone or over a text or over an email, so this video was very necessary. But yeah, I didn't have much passion in making it, but like I said, it's one of those things that had to be made, and this is for the 30% left. You guys are amazing. You really have helped me go to the next level, and I appreciate you, and especially my supporters. Unbelievable. Now I want to talk about a few things as far as products. I was just about to release the brine shrimp hatchers, and of course on about day 350, which was, I was ready to go, I had a failure. I probably won't do it for another year. I'm going to give an option to my supporters. If you are one of my supporters and you would like to get that brine shrimp hatcher, I can send it out to you. I kind of think I figured out what the problem was, and hopefully it is. But I don't know if I want to hold that thing for another year, or if it's even worth releasing in the future. But if you're one of my supporters and you want a brine shrimp hatcher, I can work out a deal for you and send that out to you. There are a lot of new foods coming out. I have some more pellets I'm working on, and some of my favorite foods, just so you know what I really like to feed. And this was taught to me by another aquarist. It wasn't something that I ever thought I would feed my discus, was the earthworms. The earthworm flake and the grow and thrive, those are something that I really focus on feeding my fish more than 2 or 3 times a week. Personally in my room, those are my go-tos. Now I feed everything obviously, because it has to be diverse, there has to be different types of food. You don't want to just feed one type. But the journey's been pretty amazing. And when I started this 2 years ago, when I made my first product, the DIY Daily Delight, I had no idea people would even buy my products. So I want to thank you guys personally. It's been amazing, and you guys are amazing. And this channel is growing. I'm making about $3 or $4 a day now. But the problem is that I can't be consistent at this point because the springtime is our busiest time in our other business. So I'm constantly trying to fit in videos, and it's hard sometimes. But you know, last week, obviously Easter, I had obligations last week. And then my son is being baptized, so we have to set all that up. But like I said, this video is rough. It was one of my toughest videos I've done in a long time. I tried to relay the information the best I could and show a little bit of passion on it. But, you know, it's just never good news, viruses. But it's something that's in our hobby that needs to be talked about. And with the release of the emergency bacterial kit, that's been pretty successful as far as on my end. But, you know, it's one of those things that's kind of going to go out. I won't know a broader success until people start having issues and using the product. But yes, there's new stuff coming out. We're working on a few new products, mostly foods, because what I'm finding is the foods that I have made and created and invented, I'm constantly thinking about viruses. The amount of time I've spent in the hobby and the problems that I've been through, and the fact that there was never anybody to turn to. You know, I had people that I could turn to as far as experience, but not really with Discus, because Discus are just different. They're a different fish. They take a special kind of person to keep a Discus even. It's different. It's just different than any other fish, really. So not having someone to turn to in my early days is why I kind of created this channel. I just wanted to be able to give everything that I've learned. Now, I'm going to be the first to tell you I don't know everything. I'm still learning every day in this hobby. And that's what I love about it, is the challenge. I love the fact that I can wake up every day and know there's going to be something new. Either it's a small challenge or a huge challenge. And that's what's so interesting to me about this hobby, is it's never dull, it's never the same. When things are going great, it's amazing. When things are hard, it's amazing, because it gives me a chance to, you know, figure some stuff out, because there's really no one in our hobby, well, I shouldn't say no one. There's only a few people in this hobby, in this high level part of the hobby, that are really trying to take it to another level. Every day is amazing, and I love interacting with you guys. I love, you know, I get a lot of emails now. I get a lot of texts. I get a lot of that, and that's fine, because I enjoy interacting with you guys. I enjoy giving my opinion, and that will hopefully help you. I have to say, one of the best things I did was get rid of these middle tanks. It just freed up everything as far as this room. It flows so well. It just, you know, it's not necessarily more is better. I think being very efficient with your tanks. You know, I got 21 tanks down from 36, and I'm finding that what it did is it made me hyper focus on what I wanted to keep, and not only what I wanted to keep, but what I wanted to breed, and making sure I have the space. So everything is very honed down now, and that makes it very enjoyable for me, because everything I touch, everything I have in this room is something that I get excited about every time I come into this room. Videos are hard, okay? I want to make that very clear. And I would encourage everyone that's watching this video to just try to shoot a video and see how hard it is. Coming up with an idea, trying to make that idea structured in a coherent pattern on video is hard. It's hard to look at the camera and stay focused on the lens. When I look at this lens, I look at you guys. I want to see faces, and that's kind of what I've learned to do, is to do that, is to look through that camera. But just been amazing. I just wanted to make this part, because whether my first part of this video comes out as, oh my gosh, he's forcing it, or I learned something, or however, but I just wasn't comfortable with that video as far as passion. I don't know if that comes across or not, but I'm really excited about a lot of videos. This is one of those videos that had to be made, and to get passionate about something that has to be done is not always fun. I just want to thank all my supporters. I want to thank you guys watching my videos. The one I know that some of you watching to the end, and to me that's the greatest compliment, because the amount of work that goes into these videos is sometimes overwhelming. Like this video, that video that was, so the 12 minutes of the first part of the video was over an hour of shooting, because I just kept going into the same thing over and over again. I hope it's not too repetitive, but I also wanted to make sure I got that point across. Next video will be better, I promise. And we're going to keep going here. We got some momentum, we're going to keep that momentum up. Alright, take care. Thanks guys, bye.